He surprised me at the party with a love letter, after 35 years of silence. In this heartfelt and intimate story, we follow a woman who experiences a life-changing moment at a seemingly ordinary party. What begins as a quiet evening with friends turns into a profound revelation about love, vulnerability, and connection. After 35 years of marriage, her husband, once reserved in his emotions, surprises her with an unexpected gesture that opens a new chapter in their relationship. This story is a beautiful reminder that sometimes the most meaningful moments come when we least expect them. Prepare to witness a tale of deep love, reflection, and the power of expressing what's hidden in the heart. We invite you to embrace the moment by liking the video, sharing your reflections in the comments, and subscribing to remain connected with our latest tales. Let me transport you to that evening, a night that began like any other yet unfolded into something beyond my wildest dreams. It was a crisp autumn evening, the kind where the air carries a gentle hint of wood smoke and the earthy scent of fallen leaves. The gathering took place at our friend's inviting home, a warm and expansive retreat embraced by the woods just beyond the town's edge. My husband, James, and I had been eagerly anticipating it for weeks. At 58, I've come to cherish these gatherings deeply, focusing less on the clamor and more on the bonds we share, the laughter that dances between us, and the comforting presence of familiar faces. James's silence lingered in the air that afternoon as we prepared ourselves. He spoke little, yet there was a certain allure in the way he adjusted his tie in the mirror, his fingers hesitating just enough to draw my attention. "Text, is everything all right?" I inquired softly, my fingers gliding over the hem of my emerald green dress, a cherished piece of his, though I reserved it for special moments. "Yeah," he said, offering me that half-smile of his, the one that always stirred something within me, as if he held a hidden thought, just pondering. I chose not to push him. After 35 years of marriage, I've come to understand the depth of his silences. At times they can weigh on the heart, yet this one carried a different essence, a sense of lightness, as if it were filled with promise. Yet, an undeniable sensation lingered within me, hinting at something stirring just out of sight. The atmosphere was alive with energy by the time we stepped in. The house pulsed with the warmth of laughter, the gentle clinking of glasses, and the soothing melodies of jazz weaving through the air. As we arrived, our dear friends Laura and Paul welcomed us with warm embraces and filled our hands with glasses of wine, their smiles radiating joy. Laura's eyes glimmered with a captivating warmth as she leaned closer to share a secret. "I believe tonight will be a delightful experience for you." I arched an eyebrow, yet she merely smiled before melting away into the throng. James intertwined his fingers with mine, the warmth of his palm sending a gentle thrill through me as he guided me into the living room. The room shimmered with the warm embrace of golden string lights, while the air was rich with the inviting aroma of spiced cider mingling with the sweetness of something delightful baking in the oven. It was as if I had entered the pages of a beautifully woven tale. We intertwined for a while, reconnecting with familiar faces and sharing gentle exchanges with those we barely knew. James lingered nearby, his hand gently placed on the small of my back, offering a quiet sense of comfort. Yet, from time to time, I would notice him stealing a glance in my direction, his gaze holding a mystery that stirred something within me. It felt like he was poised on the edge of anticipation, though I couldn't quite fathom what it was that held his attention. As the clock approached 9, Laura gently tapped her spoon against her glass, inviting everyone to turn their gaze toward her. The atmosphere shifted, a hush enveloping the space as everyone's gaze focused on her. "Thank you all for being here tonight," she said, her voice rich and inviting. "There's a delightful surprise in store for you, courtesy of James." My heart fluttered with a sudden rush of feeling. "Is that you, James?" Unexpected moments were not truly his way. I turned to him, only to find him moving closer, his hand gently gliding away from my back. He appeared anxious, his shoulders taut, yet a fierce resolve sparkled in his eyes, leaving me momentarily breathless. "Anna." He cleared his throat, his voice trembling with unspoken feelings. I've found myself reflecting deeply on the fortune that surrounds us, on the beautiful bond we share. His gaze met mine, and a wave of emotion surged within me, tightening my throat. 35 years is a significant span, and yet it seems to have passed in the blink of an eye. You've been my anchor, my companion, my closest confidant, and this evening I wanted to express just how deeply you touch my heart. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, all gazes drawn to him in a shared moment of intensity. My heart raced as he reached into his pocket and revealed a small, folded piece of paper. He unfolded it with a delicate touch, his hands quivering slightly, drawing my attention. As he started to read, the words flowed softly, wrapping around the room like a gentle embrace. It was a letter, a love letter, though that term barely scratches the surface of its profound essence. He reminisced about moments I had long since tucked away, small gestures I had made throughout the years that had held profound significance for him. The way I clasped his hand at his father's funeral, the way I found joy in his terrible jokes when no one else did, the way I always held faith in him, even in moments when he struggled to believe in himself. When he concluded, the atmosphere was thick with emotion, and I found myself among those deeply moved. I felt vulnerable, unguarded, as if he had gently uncovered the depths of my being, revealing the essence of who I am for all to witness. But more than that, I felt acknowledged, profoundly, intimately acknowledged. He carefully folded the letter and tucked it away, his gaze lingering on mine with an intensity that felt electric. "I love you," he said softly, his voice calm and unwavering. And I wished for everyone here to feel the depth of my emotions. The room filled with applause, yet it felt distant to me. All I could see was James, standing there with his soul laid bare, waiting for me to respond. I moved closer, my hands quivering slightly as I extended them toward his. "I love you as well," I murmured, my voice trembling with emotion. Beyond what language can express. He enveloped me in his embrace, and for an instant, everything else disappeared. In that bustling room, it felt as if time stood still for just the two of us, our connection enveloping us in a world where only we existed, holding onto each other with a tenderness that spoke volumes. As we gently separated, the atmosphere around us thrummed with lively chatter, yet I found myself lost in a world of my own. My thoughts were swirling, struggling to grasp the weight of the moment that had just unfolded. James had always been a man who expressed himself through his deeds rather than his speech. He expressed his affection through subtle gestures. A warm cup of coffee delivered to me in bed, a gentle hand resting on my shoulder during moments of stress, a tender kiss on my forehead before he departed for the day. Yet, this was an experience unlike any other. As the evening unfolded, I caught myself gazing at him, attempting to harmonize the person I believed I understood with the one who had just unveiled his innermost feelings before our circle of friends. His eyes held a gentle warmth, a tender openness that stirred something deep within me, filling my heart with a sweet ache. As we departed from the gathering, the moon hung gracefully in the night sky, enveloping the trees in a soft, silvery light. James's hand enveloped mine as we strolled toward the car, our fingers intertwined with a gentle yet firm connection. In the quiet moments we shared, an intimate understanding lingered in the air, woven from years of companionship and unvoiced connection. As we journeyed home, I couldn't help but revisit the evening in my thoughts, each moment lingering with exquisite clarity. The way James's voice wavered while he read the letter, the subtle tremor in his hands, the intensity of his gaze as if I were the sole focus of his world. It was a night etched in my memory, a night that transformed the essence of our connection. As I reclined in bed that night, gazing at the ceiling, an undeniable sensation lingered within me that this was merely the start, that there were depths yet to explore, emotions yet to embrace. For the first time in ages, a thrill coursed through me, a gentle wave of hope for what the future could bring. Unbeknownst to me, the true revelation awaited just around the corner. The morning light gently seeped through the curtains, warm and inviting as I slowly awakened. James had risen, leaving his side of the bed cool and untouched. I lingered in that moment, the memories of the night before swirling in my thoughts like a captivating dream. The letter, the intensity of his gaze, the stillness of the room, Everything felt like a dream, yet it was profoundly tangible. He stood by the window in the kitchen, cradling a cup of coffee, lost in thought. He lingered in his pajamas, his hair tousled just enough to suggest a carefree morning, and there was a subtle depth in his demeanor that drew me in, making me stop and reflect. He turned at the sound of my arrival, a gentle smile spreading across his face. "Good morning," he murmured, his voice gentle and warm. "Good morning," I responded softly, gliding across the room to fill my cup with warm coffee. The warm scent enveloped me, anchoring me in the comforting embrace of our shared morning ritual. As I leaned against the counter, savoring the warmth of my mug, an undeniable change lingered in the air between us. The atmosphere was thick with a subtle intensity, a lingering expectation that hung between us, unacknowledged yet palpable. "What emotions are stirring within you?" James inquired softly, his gaze lingering on mine with an intensity that stirred something deep within. I paused, feeling the weight of my feelings, struggling to find the right words to express them. In a moment of vulnerability, I confessed at last. "In a delightful manner, indeed. Last night was simply enchanting, James. I don't believe I've ever experienced such profound love." He nodded, a gentle warmth spreading across his features. "I meant every word," he murmured softly. "I simply wished for you to understand, to truly feel it within your heart." I placed my mug gently on the surface and glided across the room to stand next to him. The sunlight poured through the window, illuminating the subtle strands of gray in his hair. In that fleeting moment, I was captivated by the transformation he had undergone over the years, while still holding onto the essence of who he was. "I understand," I replied softly, taking his hand in mine, "and my heart swells with love for you because of it." He held my hand, his touch steady and comforting. Yet, there was a depth in his gaze, a fleeting hint of doubt, perhaps even trepidation, that caused me to hesitate. "What could it be?" I inquired softly. He let out a soft sigh, his fingers gently weaving through his hair. "I truly hope I didn't make you feel uncomfortable last night. I understand it was overwhelming, and I never intended to make you feel uncomfortable in that moment." I gently shook my head, a delicate laugh slipping from my lips. "You didn't make me feel uncomfortable, James. You caught me off guard, indeed, but in the most delightful manner. It was exquisite." He smiled, yet the warmth seemed to linger just beyond the surface of his gaze. "Good," he said, but I sensed there were unspoken thoughts lingering beneath the surface. I felt an urge to delve deeper, to uncover the thoughts swirling within him, yet I understood the unspoken boundaries that held me back. James had always been a man who required moments to reflect on his thoughts, and through the years, I had come to understand the importance of granting him that space. We lingered in the gentle embrace of the morning, wrapped in a silence that spoke volumes, born from countless moments woven together over time. He prepared breakfast, fluffy scrambled eggs and golden toast, just as I preferred, and we shared the meal at the kitchen table, with sunlight pouring through the windows, creating gentle patterns on the floor. It was a tranquil, seemingly mundane morning, yet it resonated with an extraordinary depth. As I tidied up the dishes, I noticed James quietly slipping away into the study. The soft rustle of drawers being opened and closed reached my ears, stirring a curiosity within me about his intentions. Yet I never inquired. Instead, I immersed myself in the rhythm of the laundry, folding clothes with care, all the while grappling with the lingering sensation that something remained unspoken between us. It was only later that afternoon that James finally stepped out from the study. He cradled a small, leather-bound notebook in his hands, its pages tenderly worn and dog-eared, each crease a testament to the years it had been cherished. I felt a deep familiarity wash over me. It was the journal he had begun to fill after his father's departure, a sanctuary for his reflections and cherished memories that had unfolded over time. "I want to share something with you," he said, his voice a blend of uncertainty and resolve. He settled onto the couch, inviting me to join him with a gentle gesture, and I found myself drawn to him, my curiosity ignited. He opened the journal to a page near the middle, his fingers quivering gently as they caressed the smooth paper. "I've been pouring my thoughts into this for years," he murmured, his voice soft and intimate. "Simply a collection of fleeting reflections, moments I wish to hold on to. But recently, I've found myself pouring my thoughts onto the page, all centered around you." My breath hitched in my throat as he started to read. The words flowed freely, a heartfelt expression that captured the essence of our life together in rich, vibrant imagery. He captured the essence of my laughter, the gentle melodies I would hum when I believed I was alone, and the warmth of my hand in his during the most challenging times of his life. He captured the tender moments, the way I would sneakily take the covers, the little notes I left for him scattered throughout our home, the gentle kisses I shared with him before parting, even during our disagreements. As he spoke, emotions washed over me, and I found myself in tears, the warmth cascading down my cheeks as I tried to grasp the profound meaning behind his words. "James," I murmured, my voice trembling. I was completely unaware. He gently closed the journal and placed it aside, his gaze intertwining with mine. He confessed that expressing himself through words on paper came more naturally to him than speaking them aloud. But last night, I came to understand that I no longer wished to hold these feelings within me. "Your significance in my life is something I cherish deeply, each and every day." As I extended my hand, our fingers gently wove together, creating an intimate connection. "You have always revealed this to me," I murmured gently. "In countless subtle gestures, you've always revealed your feelings to me. Yet this transcends everything else." He smiled, a genuine smile this time, and enveloped me in his embrace. We lingered in that moment, wrapped in each other's embrace as the soft glow of the afternoon surrendered to the gentle arrival of evening. It was a moment of tender closeness, a connection that resonated more profoundly than anything we had experienced together before. As the sun sank beneath the horizon, enveloping the room in a gentle embrace of shadows, an undeniable sense lingered within me, whispering that there was still more to unfold. James had opened a door, and I sensed that what awaited us beyond it would transform us in ways we had yet to comprehend. The days that followed James's revelation at the party, along with the morning after, were imbued with a subtle yet profound intensity. It felt like a curtain had been drawn aside, unveiling the depths of feeling and intimacy that had always existed between us, yet had remained unspoken until now. We navigated our daily lives with a deeper understanding of one another, our movements more intentional, our exchanges more profound. Yet there lingered a subtle tension, an unvoiced sentiment that James appeared to be concealing. On a Thursday evening, the next chapter of this unfolding tale began to reveal itself. James had been filled with an unusual energy all day, moving through the house with a sense of anticipation, his eyes frequently drifting to the clock as if longing for a moment to arrive. I inquired about his well-being, and he simply smiled, responding with a teasing promise of, "You'll see." His enigmatic reply stirred a deeper intrigue within me, yet I chose to release it, believing he would reveal his thoughts when the moment felt right. After dinner, he slipped away into the study, returning moments later with a small, elegantly wrapped box cradled in his hands. He settled next to me on the couch, his face reflecting a blend of anticipation and a hint of shyness. I find myself reflecting deeply on the words I shared at the party. He began, his voice a gentle caress, and I understood that words, even when inscribed, can only convey so much. "I felt the urge to offer you something you could hold close." He offered me the box, his gaze lingering on mine with an intensity that stirred something deep within. I approached it with a gentle touch, my fingers quivering ever so slightly as I loosened the ribbon and raised the lid. Inside lay a delicate silver bracelet, its surface adorned with a series of dates and words, each telling a story of connection and memory. I lifted it towards the light, a soft gasp escaping my lips as the realization washed over me. "These are the moments that have touched my heart the deepest," Great explained, his voice rich with feeling. "The day our paths intertwined, the moment we exchanged vows, the time we chose this home, and all the tender memories woven throughout. I wished for you to possess something you could hold close, a gentle reminder of the depth of my feelings for you." As I traced the engravings with my fingertips, I could feel the tears beginning to gather in my eyes. Every moment, every whisper, wove together the tapestry of our journey, a reflection of the life we had created side by side. "Wonderful," I murmured, my voice trembling. "This is simply exquisite." He smiled, a gentle, warm smile that stirred something deep within me. "Allow me to assist you with that," he murmured, gently taking the bracelet from my hands and securing it around my wrist. The metal caressed my skin with its coolness, yet its weight enveloped me in a soothing embrace, a tender reminder of his affection. We lingered in that moment, my head gently resting on his shoulder as we shared stories of the memories woven into the bracelet. He shared with me tales that were new to my ears, precious moments he held dear throughout the years, moments I had never understood carried such significance for him. It felt as though I was experiencing our shared journey through his gaze, enveloping me in a profound sense of appreciation and awe. Yet, as the evening unfolded, an undeniable sense lingered within me, whispering that there were still unspoken truths resting between us. A palpable tension lingered in the air, a soft anticipation that quickened my heartbeat. At last, I faced him and inquired softly, "James, is there something more? Is there something you're holding back?" He lingered for a moment, his gaze intertwining with mine, as if seeking to understand if I was prepared to embrace the words he was about to share. Then, with a soft sigh, he reached into his pocket and drew out a carefully folded piece of paper. "I've been pouring my heart into this for a while," he said, his voice quivering just a bit. It's a letter, yet it carries a different essence than the one I shared at the gathering. This particular one is distinct." I accepted the paper from him, my hands trembling slightly as I gently unfolded it. The words flowed from his familiar hand, yet there was an intensity to them that stirred something deep within me, causing my heart to constrict. He had poured his heart into words about his fears, his regrets, and those times when he felt he had disappointed me or fallen short. He expressed the depth of his love for me, how it could sometimes feel all-consuming, how he feared he might fall short, and then, in the end, he penned something that left me utterly speechless. He had poured his heart into every word, expressing a lifelong journey to become the man worthy of her love. But lately I've come to understand that perhaps it's not about proving one's worth. Perhaps it's about embracing vulnerability, allowing you to witness every facet of my being, the beautiful, the flawed, the tangled moments. Because I realize now that you are the only one who has ever genuinely understood me, and I long to offer you that same depth of connection. I gazed up at him, my cheeks glistening with tears. "James," I murmured, my voice soft and intimate. "You have always been more than sufficient, a true abundance." He took my hand, his touch warm and comforting. "I understand that now," he murmured gently, "but it was important for me to express it. I wanted you to feel this deeply." We lingered in that moment, wrapped in each other's embrace as the depth of his words enveloped us. It was a moment of exquisite openness, a connection that resonated more deeply than anything we had experienced together before. As I gazed at him, truly gazed, I understood that this was the essence of love, not in perfection, but in the rawness of honesty. It's not about extravagant displays, but rather the bravery to reveal one's true self. Later that night, as we lay in bed, I found myself gently tracing the engravings on the bracelet, each date and word a tender reminder of the life we had woven together. James's breath flowed gently beside me, his hand softly resting on my arm. A warm tranquility enveloped me, a deep assurance that no matter what lay ahead, we would navigate it side by side. Yet, as I surrendered to the embrace of sleep, a lingering sensation whispered to me that this was far from the conclusion of our tale. There remained an abundance yet to unfold, a world of sensations waiting to be embraced. For the first time in ages, a sense of readiness enveloped me, as if I was prepared to embrace whatever lay ahead. The days that came after were filled with tender pauses and intimate discoveries. James and I navigated our days with an intimate connection, as if the barriers we hadn't noticed before had gently dissolved. The bracelet on my wrist serves as a tender reminder of the love we cultivated, the moments we cherished, and the deep connection we discovered within one another. Yet there remained a part of me that sensed we were poised on the brink of something grander, something neither of us could entirely grasp just yet. On a Saturday evening, the last fragment of this journey gracefully aligned, completing the tapestry of emotions woven throughout. James had been behaving oddly throughout the day, nervously toying with his phone and casting glances my way that held an unspoken depth I couldn't fully understand. As he finally cleared his throat and revealed, "I have a surprise for you," a flutter of anticipation danced in my chest. His surprises had transformed into a source of both excitement and trepidation for me, not due to a lack of trust, but because they consistently revealed a hidden depth within me that I had yet to discover. "What sort of delightful surprise awaits?" I inquired, striving to maintain a playful tone while my heart raced with anticipation. He smiled, that subtle smile of his that always made me feel as though he held a hidden truth just for me. "You'll see," he murmured, gently taking my hand and guiding me toward the car. We traveled quietly, the gentle purr of the engine weaving an intimate atmosphere around us. I caught fleeting glimpses of him, his attention fixed on the road, hands confidently gripping the wheel. There was a soothing presence about him now, a gentle assurance that enveloped me in warmth, even as my intrigue deepened. As we glided into the parking lot of a quaint, unpretentious dance studio, I glanced at him, a swirl of emotions stirring within me. "A place where movement and rhythm intertwine?" I inquired, arching an eyebrow with curiosity. He nodded, a warm smile spreading across his face. "I've been taking lessons," he confessed, his voice laced with a blend of pride and vulnerability. "I long to bring you a delightful surprise." I gazed at him, my thoughts swirling in a whirlwind of emotion. James had always felt a certain hesitance when it came to dancing. He had always been the type of man who found comfort in the shadows at weddings, offering his applause while others danced freely under the lights. The thought of him embracing dance lessons felt so unexpected that I struggled to fully grasp it. "What is the reason behind this?" I finally inquired, my voice soft and delicate, barely rising above a whisper. He took my hand, his touch enveloping me in warmth and comfort. "Because I long to do something special for you," he said softly, "something that would express the depth of my feelings for you, and because I yearn to dance with you." As I gazed at him, truly gazed, I could feel the tears beginning to gather in my eyes. This man, who had devoted his life to expressing his affection in gentle, unwavering gestures, was now venturing beyond his familiar boundaries, all for me. It was an experience that enveloped me completely, stirring deep feelings within. As we entered the studio, the gentle melodies floated around us, creating an intimate atmosphere. The room held a quiet stillness, broken only by the presence of a single instructor, a woman in her 50s whose warm smile radiated comfort, balanced by a grounded, no-nonsense demeanor. She welcomed us with a subtle nod and an inviting gesture toward the heart of the room. "Are you prepared?" James inquired, his voice laced with a blend of anticipation and vulnerability. I nodded, my heart racing as he guided me to the heart of the room. The instructor played a gentle, melodic tune, and James took my hand, his other hand softly resting on my waist. For a moment, we simply stood there, gazing into each other's eyes, the depth of our shared experiences lingering in the space around us. And then we started to sway together. Initially, there was a certain clumsiness to our movements, a tentative quality that lingered in the air. Yet, as the music enveloped us, an undeniable change began to unfold. James's steps grew assured, his hold on my hand more secure, his gaze unwaveringly locked onto mine. In that moment, everything else seemed to dissolve, leaving only the two of us, entwined in a dance of perfect unity. The passage of time faded away as we moved together, lost in the rhythm of our connection. Whether it was mere minutes or endless hours, it held no significance. The intensity of his gaze held me captive, the warmth of his hands intertwined with mine ignited a spark, and the rhythm of our bodies swayed in perfect harmony, as if we were destined to share this moment forever. It was a moment of deep connection, a feeling of love so intense it left me breathless. As the last notes lingered in the air, we remained entwined, our breaths harmonizing in a gentle rhythm. Thank you, I murmured, my voice trembling, for everything. He smiled, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. I love you, he said softly, and in that moment I felt the warmth of his promise to always be present, to continually strive, to embrace the journey of growth alongside me. Warm tears cascaded down my cheeks as I drew him close, enveloping him in a tender embrace. In that moment, I understood the essence of love, not merely in the grand gestures or the serene silences, but in the shared journey of growth, the courage to be open, and the commitment to be present, day after day, year after year. As we drove home that night, the silence enveloped us, a warm embrace filled with the unspoken connection that blossoms from years of shared experiences. I ran my fingers over the delicate engravings of my bracelet, each date and word whispering memories of our shared journey, the love we nurtured, and the promise of the future that awaited us. As I gazed at James, truly taking him in, a wave of tranquility washed over me, a deep-seated assurance that no matter what lay ahead, we would navigate it side by side. For love is not about perfection, it is about the deep connection we share in partnership. It's not about the sweeping displays, but rather the quiet bravery to continue moving, even when the rhythm feels new and uncertain.